guys, it's Tristan Gibson here. I wanted to do my instruction project on how to create the French macaroon. So the first thing I want to do is show you what a French macaroon looks like, and that is this right here. As you can see, it kind of looks like an Oreo, except it's a bit more fluffy. When you bite into it, you can tell that it's like 100 times more delicate. This is an American macaroon, and it's a coconut cookie. Sometimes you can find it with chocolate on top. The macaroon comes in a wide variety of flavors and colors, and the filling can be anything from a fruit filling to a meringue to a typical ganache. There are no limits with this. The French macaroon didn't actually originate in France. It originated in Italy, and when Catherine de' Medici married King Henry II, she brought with her her personal bakers and her chefs, and they were the ones who introduced the macaroon to France. And it was in France that it became so popular, and that's why we call it a French macaroon. I thought this was interesting that a Medici would be a part of creating something so, I guess, specific to an area like Paris or France in general. The macaroon is just something that you associate with France. And I thought this was interesting because the Medicis were known for social power and religious corruption and heavy influence on the arts. And since baking is an art in itself, it just seemed perfect. So for this, we're going to be talking about how to make a lemon macaroon. Like I said earlier, they can be anything. I just chose lemon as a personal preference. And so my filling is going to be a lemon curd. For the cookie base, you need 1 lemon zest and yellow food coloring. That's going to be for the outside cookie. And then you need almond meal, powdered sugar, 3 egg whites from large eggs, and granulated sugar. You're gonna need a mixer and a sifter. Those are very, very important, along with a scale, since everything is measured in grams, to make sure that it just makes sure that everything is precise. And so you're going to need the food processor to blend everything together very well, and the sifter to just kind of make sure that there's no big chunks in the batter to help it stay smooth. And so when you prepare your macaroons, you're going to want to prepare the eggs first, a day in advance, maybe 2 days. You separate the egg whites from the yolks, and then you put them in a sealable container and put them in the refrigerator for up to 24 hours. This just allows the eggs to mature, I guess. And so on the day of baking, you want to let them sit out and reach room temperature before you incorporate them into the batter. So you want to food process the powdered sugar and the almond meal. This just blends them together really well. And then you want to sieve them using the sifter and then set them aside. Next, you want to mix wet ingredients, and you're going to measure out the 30 grams of granulated sugar and set that aside. And then put the egg whites into a cold d'épaule, which is the stainless steel bowl. Cold d'épaule is just the French term for it. You're going to mix the egg whites within the mixer for 3 seconds on high, and you're going to just do that in intervals until the egg white mixture appears bubbly. As you can see on the edges, they're kind of bubbly. Once it reaches that stage, you're going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar and then continue mixing until all the sugar is gone. And you want to use a cold stainless steel bowl because the cold bowl allows the egg whites to get fluffy and firm, and this is what you want it to look like before you add the color and the other ingredients. So the next step would be to add the color and the flavor. So you add your 15 to 20 drops of yellow food coloring and the zest of 1 lemon, and then you fold it into the mixture. And you want to fold because you don't want the mixture to lose its fluffiness, or because when you bake it, it won't rise properly and the cookie won't be a macaroon. It'll be ruined and you won't be able to use it. So you want to combine the other mixtures. So in small amounts of the powder, you want to add in small amounts of the powdered sugar almond meal mixture to the egg white and granulated sugar mixture. And you're going to continue the folding motion that you used previously. And this is what it's going to look like before you get ready to pipe it onto the sheet. You can tell it's a bit more glossy than before. And so the next step, you're going to set that aside and you're going to prepare your baking surface. So you want to stack 2 baking sheets on top of each other and then put the parchment paper on inside of it, but to make it match perfectly, because you don't want there to be any bumps or rises in the parchment paper, or the cookies won't bake evenly. And you also double them because it allows them to bake and rise evenly. It's just a baking tip, I guess. The next thing you want to do is you want to preheat the oven to 300 degrees. And it's okay to preheat it at this stage because you still have more that you have to do. And so the next step is going to be, you're going to fill the pastry bag. So you're going to bend the tip and set it in a measuring cup, a glass, whatever you want to use, to make sure that when you're putting the stuff into the bag, it won't come out. And then when you're done, you're going to twist the bag and hold it, and that's how you're going to apply the pressure to have it come out onto the baking sheets. So next you're going to pipe the macaroon bases, and you're going to hold the tip at the very end, like in the previous picture, and then use your other hand to guide the macaroons on the parchment paper. And you want to make circles that are anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And then when you're done making your circle, you just stop squeezing and lift the pastry bag away from the parchment paper. And then you're going to let the macaroons rest. They have to rest for at least 30 minutes at room temperature before you bake. This allows them to get like a little bit hardened on the top. This will help them rise when they're baking. And this is what they should look like before you put them in the oven. So the next step is to bake the macaroons. You want to put them into an oven and bake them for 12 to 18 minutes. And this requires you getting to know your oven and how hot it gets and how it bakes things. So you're going to have to pay close attention to the baking process. As you can see, this is what properly baking macaroons look like. There's no cracking, they're all even, they're evenly rising. And so if you don't bake them enough, they're going to stick to the parchment paper, but if you bake them too long, they're going to crack. So it takes you just getting to know your oven. So you're going to remove them and let them rest and then prepare to assemble. So as you can see, they're flat on the bottom and fluffy on the top. So then you're going to remove them from the parchment paper and match up macaroons that are approximately the same size. This is it makes them more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, since the whole macaroon is supposed to look delicate and just very dainty. So then you're going to apply the lemon curd in the middle and then put the 2 cookies together, and you want to apply enough to where the lemon curd is thick, but you don't want the frosting to be oozing out of the cookie. That's not very attractive. And so the final step is to just let the macaroons rest, and they need to rest for 24 hours. This allows the cookies and the fillings to become one, and they'll have the perfect traditional texture, and they'll be exactly how they're supposed to be. So I hope you guys give it a try. I apologize for any noise in the background. My dogs are being a little rambunctious. So you guys have a good day, and thank you.